I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a slight sound of dripping water. And this leads to the phenomenon known as the phantom toilet flush. Here we have just your standard two-piece toilet. And in the middle of the night, this thing will all of a sudden flush. And nobody knows why. Well, it's usually associated with the flush valve and the flapper. And so the first thing to really do here is to replace the flapper, which is that little white part right down here at the very base in the water. So what I'm going to do is, you don't have to do this, but just for illustrative purposes, I'll go ahead and shut the water off to the toilet and then go ahead and flush it. So you can turn the water off by the valve down here at the base of the wall. And then go ahead and push the handle. I'm going to keep the handle pushed down to drain out a little more of the water than is necessary. And at that point, it's just a matter of disconnecting everything. So here at the handle is a little a little metal clip, and that can come off. And then the flapper just attaches by a couple of little ears here on the side of the flush valve tube, and it lifts right out. So if we turn it over, you can see that this gasket on this is all nasty. It's all cracked, and so my guess is that water is simply getting by these cracks to the point where the tank drains low enough where the fill valve turns back on and refills the tank. I can also see down here along this flush valve there's some of the old gasket from that flapper left on it. So I'm just gonna kind of wipe that away here. By the way, this is clean water. I wouldn't drink it, but you don't have to worry about it being too hazardous to your health, I suppose. Okay, so we got a new flapper. This will cost you $3 or $4 at any hardware store, and you can see that it looks just like the old one, and it attaches right back on to the ears. You just push it down with your finger. Should make a pretty nice connection. And the only thing left to do really is just to adjust the length of it. So you want the flapper to lift up enough to let enough water down to get a good flush. So I'm gonna put it back into the same hole it was in, and we'll see if it needs to be adjusted. Turn the water back on. I suppose I should get my old flapper out of there. Now you can stop the water by lifting up on this arm. And let's see if we get... No, that length is going to be too short, or too long. I mean, we're going to have to shorten the length of this line here so that the flapper actually lifts up enough to let the water out. So I'm going to let this refill, and while it's doing that, I'm going to shorten this line up. Yeah, it'll take about 1 inch. It may be enough, it may not be. And I shortened it too much. I'll take a little bit less and see if this is going to work. There's a couple different holes on this arm too that you can use. That looks pretty good if it goes down okay and pops down. And that's all there is to replacing the toilet flapper. Now if it still does the phantom flush in the middle of the night, I would change this entire flush valve out. That involves taking the tank off, and there's a spud nut on the bottom. You have to get rid of that, replace this part here. That's probably about a $10 part, and that will fix the problem. The only other possibility that would lead to the phantom flush is a crack in the tank. I don't see any visible signs of that.